Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Big Finish Fans. In today's Big Finish Fans, we're doing a Throwback Thursday on a Thursday of the Third Doctor Adventures Volume 2, containing Transcendence of Aphros and the Hidden Realm. Once again, I am joined with Luke.
Yes, hello everyone, and Ben can hear me now.
I can hear
Yes,
you.
again.
Oh, the Chris Chibnall story.
No. Yeah, we had a few technical issues. So if you're wondering why we're late, basically I was speaking, and
I
it
can
wasn't going
hear.
into Ben's ears.
No.
Not even going in one ear and out the other. It just wasn't going in the first place.
Had Zell with his fingers in my ears, probably.
Oh,
So I couldn't hear anything. I'm going to have bad dreams. So, yeah. It's all good. We're here.
Yeah. How have you been anyway?
I'm all right. Yeah. I mean, considering how much, we streamed Sunday and now we're here Thursday. Not really done that much. Obviously, second Doctor's arrived, which is nice.
Yeah.
Physically, not that'll probably be my next listen. Actually, finish that off because it was literally dive into Third Doctor Volume 2, get it done for today.
Yeah, we sort of decided because we were bouncing the idea around for a while of doing a Third Doctor throwback. We wanted some more Tim Treloar in our lives while we fill that gap between Return of Joe Jones and the upcoming Intelligence for War, which definitely excited for.
Yes.
And we we were talking on Sunday after the stream, going, what should we do next? Should we finally get this Third Doctor throwback done? And then we looked at what days we had available and decided we're doing a throwback. We're both free Thursday. Why don't we make it a throwback Thursday? And so, yeah, I mean, I stopped listening to the Jamie box set halfway through the final story, The Shrouds, and just stuck on Transcendence of Aphros, zoomed through the Hidden Realm. And here we are, and I've still got the Shroud to finish at this point, which
I need to start Shroud.
Show you how that story's going for me so far.
Yeah,
or that box as a whole, even. But yeah, I mean, Ninth Doctor came out today.
Yeah.
Nice,
interesting. Yeah, good trailer. It's nice to know that they're continuing the Ninth Doctor trailers. So they must be selling well.
Yeah, hopefully so. I mean, it was a bit more of a basic trailer, I suppose, like just TARDIS in space. But at the same time, it does all it needs to do. Like,
it gave me the same feeling as Into the Stars. It was sort of the same motif.
Same time of year as well.
Yeah. Maybe that's why as well. Yeah.
I mean, it was nice to just go back to the monologue as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because we dropped those for a little bit. I think was it from Back to Earth to Hidden Depths, and then we got one for Shades of Fear.
Yeah,
I think they realised that was the way to go with these Ninth Doctor trailers.
Do you think they've lost their spark now? Do you think they've still got a bit of a that's nice, but they're still doing it, or
the trailers?
Yeah, because I know that you're quite Ninth Doctor fatigued out.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'd say they have lost their spark a little bit, but at the same time, I'm not against them doing them. I mean, yeah, they're certainly not at the same heights they were when it came to, say, Old Friends.
Yes.
But I think at the same time, if you don't really have, because that's very much helped by the fact that it's Cybermen there. That was also helped by the fact that we only found out about Cybermen being in that set the day of release.
Yeah.
That's weird thinking back to a time when we didn't know that was where it was going.
I want that again. I want that surprise release where you're just like, whoa, okay, didn't have that on the bingo card.
Yeah, I mean, it could be right around the corner for all we know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that Second Doctor had it, but it was teased.
Yeah, it's like a game of guess the classic monster.
I mean, it's pretty obvious when you put 2 and 2 together.
But yeah, we won't go spoiling that here. But yeah, I mean, that's so far my favourite story of the set, at least.
Yeah, I'd agree. Out of the two I've listened to.
Yeah. Hello, Daniel Hager.
Hello.
The Sherlock Holmes fan once again. Hi, Ben and Guy.
Ben and Guy.
I suppose TARDIS Guy.
Yeah, that's true.
How are you tonight?
I mean, Guy Adams wrote Transcendence of Aphros, so
yeah, he did. Yeah. He's not with us tonight, though, sadly.
No, we couldn't get him on.
No, nor David Llewellyn.
No.
The writer of the Hidden Realm.
Yeah.
I'm good tonight. How about you, Daniel?
Yeah, I mean, how have you been? How have you been? Let's check in with you.
Yeah, do let us know. That's to everyone in the chat as well.
Yeah.
Tell us how your week's been.
Yeah, I mean, how are you, Luke? How are you?
I'm not too bad.
Good.
Got tomorrow off work, so
Nice.
Relaxing time now. Yeah. I think it's always just good to be here chatting Big Finish, really, Doctor Who in general.
But yeah,
whatever other tangents.
It's a nice little escape, isn't it?
Yeah. Who with a small collection is here as well. Greetings.
Hello.
Ben, can you hear us?
I can. Right, cut it open.
Volume 2 is a fun set, not amazing, just a fun little set. Interesting thoughts.
I think, yeah, I've got different thoughts to when I first listened to it.
Yeah, I mean, Transcendence of Aphros, I've listened to since it came out, at least a few times. Like, it's one of those ones that I often went back to, especially when, we only had these first two sets. If I want Third Doctor Big Finish, this would have been the one I went for. Hidden Realm, not touched since release, so that was very interesting going back to. I just want Ninth Doctor and a new companion.
Well, we technically had it, but they were like, oh.
Yeah, they sort of chickened out a bit.
Yeah.
So I thought of a fun idea for a way you can get away with Ninth Doctor companion without it sort of interfering with Rose and whatnot. Have it be the Third Doctor's tinkering around with the TARDIS settings. You've got either Liz or Joe I'd go for. Are there standing near the console. And in Ambassadors, you've got that classic scene of that will send you a few seconds forward into the future, particularly if you're standing there.
Yeah.
You have that sort of tinkering, but instead of a few seconds forward into the future, it's a few hundred or thousand years or whatever it is for and it's like the TARDIS's own personal timeline. So then you get Liz or Joe suddenly appearing in the middle of the Ninth Doctor's TARDIS.
Okay.
And you could do maybe a couple of stories of him trying to get them home. There they go. And then it could also work nicely with mirroring. Obviously, Rose's arc with the Ninth Doctor is showing him who he could be.
Yes.
You've got a classic companion reminding him of who he was before realizing where he's going.
Good.
Maybe something they can get away with there.
I think Big Finish is a sandbox.
Yeah.
Let's do it. If there's a story to be told, tell it.
Yeah. I mean, you're always going to get the dartboard accusations, but
at the end of the day, that's the whole market Big Finish is built. It's a niche market.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I'm here for it,
Yeah. And ultimately, you got to sell these things.
Yes, slap a Dalek on it. Instant, like, this is a thing. Doomsday. I see McGann, I'm like, oh no.
Oh dear. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Hoover and Small Collections also says, I don't know if it would work, but I wonder if they might pair up Benny and the Ninth Doctor with the upcoming Once and Future story with Ninth Doctor Unbound. I might be a nice passing of the torch vibe. I mean, I imagine it wouldn't happen in that story. Well, I suppose it definitely wouldn't happen anyway because it's Once and Future bouncing up and down the timeline and such. But yeah, maybe that could be the way to go with it. They both got the leather jackets.
True.
They're twinning. Hello, Stylish One. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Not heard this set, but I did get Volume 5, and I'm looking forward to listening to that.
That was another one we were going to do. We were going to either do Volume 5, Volume 2, or Conquest Afar, was it? We didn't want to touch.
We were sort of
what was
throwing
it?
up Volume 3 up in the air. Yeah. I think that would have been a nice, timely one for the summer because that was like a very Primord, at least, is set in like a middle of a heat wave, isn't it?
Yeah.
But we don't quite have that weather at the moment.
No, it's proper autumn. It's like a proper autumn weather now, really.
Yeah, it's getting rather wet out there. So, I mean, hopefully we get a bit more sun before August is out.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're British. We're already talking about the weather.
We'll always complain about it.
Yeah.
It's too
Whatever
cold,
it is.
too hot. We're never satisfied.
Yeah, too humid, not humid enough. Too windy, not enough winds. Whatever it is, we're always going to have something to nitpick. Is this the best example of Big Finish listening to the fans? Oh, when it came to the narration, I suppose. Yeah, I think. Should we save that for when we talk about the stories?
Yeah, we can do.
Because that's a big factor of this box set, isn't it? Big Finish could strand the Ninth Doctor in one location and give him a companion for a whole box set and make that box set one long story. Yeah, that's another way to do it.
They could do like a War Doctor Begins type story.
They need to mix it up a bit more, don't they? And not have just one part all the time. Give us another Ravagers style box set where it's
yeah. Just something where you can just sink your teeth into.
We stand that dartboard, said Hoovy with a small correction.
We do.
It's good for the meme. Is the stream linked to that Big Finish intern's Twitter code? Did you see that?
No, I didn't actually.
Oh, they announced that they're on holiday now.
Right.
For the next couple of weeks, but left a little present. Read the first word of each of the past tweets. And I mean, if you go load up Twitter,
right,
and search Big Finish, I think we'll get a live reaction here for Ben.
Was this where I reveal I am the intern?
He was planning it all along. And scroll down to where it's the Naomi Cross one.
Is that the first one?
Yeah, that's the first one. And read the first word of each tweet, scrolling down from there. This has been a few weeks in the planning from the old intern here.
Right, I've just got to do a fair... Right.
Oh, no, sorry, it's not that. It's actually the one up above that, where it is them going on vacation. So it's I
cross the void.
Here it goes.
Beyond the dying hours? That's the next tweet? Oh, the mine. There we go. Oh, that's sweet. Well done, Big Finish intern. Sorry, well done me. Sorry. I should read it. Wow, that's...
Ben isn't ready for it, says Hoovian.
That's chef kiss.
Yeah. And it's like, you think, are they just doing the first lines or so? But no, it's not even the first verse. It's the whole song. It just keeps going. It is mad. We stand that effort. They won the internet.
Yeah, we can't cope with anything else.
Oh. Yeah, Silas Russell said, I prefer the dartboard over the standard pairings. That's one thing Once Future is getting good at and doing better than the 50th anniversary special on Big Finish. Yeah, I can agree with that. No, I think especially with that 50th anniversary, it was the very obvious pairings. 6 and Perry, 7 and Ace, 8 and Charlie. It was all the ones you sort of expected. I mean, he did have some iffy ones with Once a Future, like Fifth Doctor and Jenny again.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, it seems like they are getting a lot better now, particularly 10th Doctor, Missy, and Paternoster again. That's an exciting combo.
Yes.
Yeah. The Big Finish intern made up for the lack of news of that, says Stylish One. Indeed.
Yeah.
Speaking of...
Dry week.
Shall we talk about the news we have got?
Yeah, shall I load up the thing you've got here?
Yeah. Or actually, should we do the...
yeah.
Oh, no, we could do that. We can still talk about the cover like this, really, can't we?
Yeah.
So we've got the whole Vortex magazine ready here to flick through. We got a cover reveal and more details about what's going on in Doomsday. I think Dying Hours, this one's called, isn't it?
Yes.
So this is Big Finish's contribution. This is their 4 hours worth. I'm not a big fan of the cover.
Are you not?
No. I mean, Sean Longmore is still the GOAT. He is incredible. But I can't say I like this one.
I think the image of Doom doesn't exactly sell. I'm an assassin. I've got 24 hours to live.
It's a rather goofy face, isn't it?
Yeah.
And even then, her head feels photoshopped onto the body.
I mean, to be fair, with that green screen, who knows?
But yeah, certainly McGann and Charlie are looking a bit
Yeah,
rough.
Charlie's
Like
got
the
a
head's
big
too
head.
small.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Jackie's looking fine, but that's because that is where her head belongs anyway. Is that Zephon, son of Zephon, or another Zephon? It might be Zephon's grandson of Zephon and son of Zephon. It could be yet another one. So yeah, they're in the first story of the set by Jacqueline Rayner. I think let's check what the others are. And then, where is it? Here we go. So yeah, the first story, Dawn of an Everlasting Peace, is the Syndicate group there. The next one, A Date with Destiny by Rob Valentine. This one is the Jackie Tyler story. After that, you've got The Howling Wolves of Zanfir by Simon Clark, which is the Silent story. And then finally is The Crowd by Lizzie Hopley, which is the Eighth Doctor and Charlie inclusion in the set. Now, I think for you said this was the thing that's making you buy in this, is
It's McGann.
McGann and
Charlie.
Fisher. Getting her in there as broke you.
That's the thing, like, being like an old school Big Finish fan, having it and Charlie, you're just like, oh, I love those two. But I have zero interest in the actual project of Doomsday.
Do you think you'll skip straight to that A and Charlie story and then never bother with the others?
I genuinely don't. I'm really on the fence about picking it up because I feel like it's going to be one of those clearance ones. It's going to, no offense to it, but I think it is going to go straight to like a warehouse clearance because the time the Victoria stuff did.
Yeah, I don't think Doomsday itself is doing that well overall, is it? Certainly in terms of fan reception, it's me in some opposition there.
Yeah, because I looked at the Doctor Who magazine comic and yeah.
I can't say I'm against it existing. I don't think it's an affront to Doctor Who or anything like that, like some reactions would have you believe. I've just got no interest in it. So yeah, I'm still not picking this one up, even with McGann and Charlie in there. I think if it was Tennant, I might have been lured in, or if it was Lucy Miller, that would have got me. But I think with Charlie, we had our Eighth Doctor and Charlie box set last year, and then after that, you had a brilliant story in Classic Doctor's New Monsters with the pair of them, and very much a two-hander.
I mean, they know what they're doing, Big Finish. They know what they're doing because, like, they're I would say like a vast majority of their audience are 8 and Charlie people.
Yeah,
and like they'll want a complete 8 and Charlie collection, so they'll have to dip in and get it.
Yeah, people are definitely going to be lured into this one, but I can't say I'm
but
one of them.
£30 for it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it's going to have individual cover art though.
That is good. That is. I mean, you've picked up Among Us, didn't you? In the end.
Yeah, I did in the end. Or at least, well, I've got the first two at the moment, and there's no way I'm not picking up the third unless the first two go down really badly. But yeah, I picked those up. My gift card arrived. The
nice,
one for the early bird offer. So yeah, there we go. That's an update for those of you who tuned in last stream and heard me mini panic about that when Ben was like, "Oh, I got mine the other week."
Yeah, I've still not spent mine. I've still not spent mine.
I mean, mine typically came after I made that Among Us purchase, but at the same time, I made that purchase just before the first set went up in price.
Yeah.
So yeah, wouldn't have helped much anyway. Yeah, I also got Prisoners of London at last. It was like a triple purchase, download only, over 50 quid, so got 10% off. Yeah.
Nice.
If it was 8 and Lucy, I'd be happy with that we were getting more of that pair, but annoyed it was in this, so I'm fine with being A and Charlie. Yeah, that's it. I'm not against it being Charlie, or rather, I'm not against it not being Lucy, in that, it saves me the money there.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been a reluctant, okay, you've put Lucy in this, now I've got to pick it up. Not an, oh yeah, you've put Lucy in this, I want it now. Yeah, it's do that style of purchase.
I mean, I've got to be honest, it kind of sums up Doomsday, where they're literally throwing everything you love or any niche Doctor Who thing, because like in the comic you've got the Sixth Doctor, you've got Joe Grant, Cybermen, Autons, you've got delegates, you've got Silence, you've got McGann and Charlie, you've got Slovene and Trousted in the book, and Eccleston. Like, they're really trying.
With it being a multimedia event, though,
yeah,
such, you sort of understand it, because it needs, especially in the 60th anniversary year, you need that draw to make it make sense as a multimedia event, not just be its own weird spin-off about some random character.
Yeah.
And I think I like that with using 8 and Charlie, at least, they're using characters that are very Big Finish specific.
Yes.
Like, there's a reason these chapters, or at least that chapter in particular, is a Big Finish story.
Yeah.
It's not just that they've randomly allocated these around the different places. I'm so happy we're getting a new original Second Doctor novel, but it's part of this. Yes. Swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Yeah. Yikes.
This makes it the Silence debut as well, says Who from a Small Collection, but Starch One has corrected them there.
Well, you forget. You could forget. It could be a pun. Could be a pun. Could be a pun, Yeah.
But I can't say I've read this article, though, to be honest. There might be some exciting details in there as to what's going on. But I did read this one about the upcoming Martian invasion of Planetoid 50. Apparently, this went through a few different doctors at first during the early stages.
Okay.
They realised David Tennant was available, and so repurposed.
Was it the classic lockdown thing? Go, crap, David's available. Quickly, go, go, go.
Yeah, pretty much seems to be the case.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm not sure if that's better or worse than the whole shit. David's available. Quick, write a script from scratch for him. Or is it better retroactively fitting one there?
He was a 10. I mean, that's kind of once and future, putting other doctors in other doctor stories.
Yeah. So that sort of works, really, because it won't be too specifically 10th Doctor, I suppose. And I mean, it's worked out wonderfully anyway. We're not complaining. We're happy with got Tennant here, and we're happy it's this combo.
We're not fatigued.
At the same time, you hear that and you do sort of wonder about. It's sort of like that thing of, if it turns out poorly, we'll complain about that, and it will have been a bad idea. But if it turns out well, it will have been a great idea. It's all down to the execution.
Yeah.
Can't say I've read much into the Rose Tyler stuff. Don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, it's kind of whatever you're interested in. You read.
Book club is Torchwood Deadbeat Escape, but we don't know what Torchwood is coming out this month. So could this be a hint at that? Like, it's funny, in the big email they send out at the start of the month with all the releases, it's still got that Torchwood release there with a TBA on it.
Wow.
So I think there must be something going on there. I don't know. But then again, no offense to Caddock Point, but there wasn't really anything going on there worthy of hiding. But yeah, could it be that Murray Melvin recorded one more before passing and they're going to release that this month? Or is it just that it happens to be a horror one this month? To be fair, if I read this little article here, it might explain why they've chosen this one for this month, but can't say I have. You got a very nice image there for almost Last of Us vibes. Really.
I was thinking that,
series. Yeah, good stuff. We're all terrified of a gas mask. Not picking out still. We also got a peek at some individual cover art there for River Song.
Oh yeah, River.
So I'm assuming that's going to be the first story, the Excise Men. And also that email there was asking Nick about, why the range is ending. And he said, about how River and Alex are both very popular, so it'd be very silly of us to stop using her completely. And then that's about it. So it's not really confirmed one way or the other, but hopefully points to more of it. And certainly says what we all assumed anyway, is that if it is the range River ending completely, it will be down to the BBC rather than Big Finish making the decision to stop using her, weirdly.
So. It raises more questions than answers.
Big Finish should release it with no cover or information. It makes people interested in easy publicity. I suppose as a one-off thing, it would be an interesting way to go about it. Like you got a mystery story there. I mean, it's
but
not
as
like
soon as
what
somebody
Disney...
listens to it, you'll kind of be ruined.
It's not like what Disney does, though, in a way, with their, especially The Mandalorian, how sometimes those thumbnails are just stock images of Grogu.
Yeah.
For the episode, and the synopsis is very basic. So you're like, oh, this could be a really exciting episode, and then it's just wet filler for another week, like side quest time.
It's like The Rescue. It's a protocol droid, isn't it?
I think. Oh, that's the opposite end of the spectrum, isn't it? Where it's actually hiding something. But it's almost like too ridiculous there, isn't it? It's like you could have shown a random picture of Mando at least. In the night, there's some interesting little facts about this one. When Tim Foley was originally developing this, it was going to be a 4-part Third Doctor story.
Oh.
But then as it went further, they agreed. This is the first story in the set, Pursuit of the Nightjar. They agreed that it would make more sense for it to be a Fifth Doctor one and sort of worked better with Fifth Doctor. So I can understand that. It's nice that they are looking at these things rather than forcing it to be whichever Doctor they want it to be. So hard to really say how that'll go with, I
wonder if we'll notice it.
Story. Yeah. But I mean, I think from what we've heard in the trailer with how, Tegan points out the Fifth Doctor's as giddy as a schoolboy, I think of the first 5, or of the classic Doctors, at least, in general, maybe excluding the 8th, he's the one who's most likely to get fanboy and excited about something like this.
I could see Colin getting a bit like that, going, look who it is, Perry.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, certainly. But yeah, I think the Third Doctor would be more like casually excited / observant of it. Yeah, and another fact about this is that Tim Foley wrote it as a tribute to the monthly adventures.
Oh.
Apparently they were coming to an end around the time he started developing this as well. I mean, he never got to write for them, which is bizarre, given how prominent a writer he is in Big Finish right now. But yeah, never.
They only did it's only 2 years since he's done his first 4-parter in the Gulf.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
So it's amazing how quickly he's established himself
as a mainstay, really.
As a mainstay, and probably my favorite writer Big Finish have got at this current moment in time.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. He's mainly the reason I ended up picking up Among Us. Partially as well, Sean Longmore and the individual cover art he's done. Like, seeing all that got me very interested in picking up the series. But also, just Tim Foley is writing quite a huge chunk of the series, and just given how brilliant a writer he is, yeah, that was the main selling factor for me. But yeah, so I mean, it's a 4-parter, so that makes sense, and it's a throwback to those. Hopefully, the times we really love of the Fifth Doctor and monthly range, around 2016, 17 and such, all the way through to the end, really, I'd say.
It gives me very sort of season 19 Starmen type feel, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if I really get that, because that was...
I mean, maybe because you've listened to it just recently, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose you're going a bit more off memory. But I mean, they are both set out in space, I suppose. Not that narrows it down too much for Doctor Who stories, but
Yeah.
I see where you're coming from now. Tim Foley did a class audio. He should also write for Lady Christina. I see what you're doing, Stylish One.
Like we say, 50 likes and we'll do it. But, we haven't hit it, so we'll just keep on saying.
That is going down very well, though, in terms of views and like to comment. So thank you for all the positive feedback there and tuning in to us.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We appreciate
on about Fourth Doctor and such for that one. But anyway, is there anything else in here? Luther Arkwright? I think you were saying you might be picking this one up, weren't you?
I think
the first one goes on sale.
Yeah. But again, it depends what the money situation is.
Yeah, and we got our release schedule again here. It's still saying to be announced for the upcoming one. And then there's your alternative cover. There we have it. I mean, the other piece of news was some new out of what's it called? End of line notifications. That's what
yes.
Yeah. I think I've got that loaded up.
I'll add that to the old thing. There we go.
So there we have it. I mean, there's some crazy ones on here. Speaking of Third Doctor, Volume 8.
Yeah.
That's only just coming up to 2 years old in a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
And that's already on it. So it's scary to think that the cull of the Third Doctor, I suppose, the next one on the chopping board is the Annihilators.
Jeez.
Which is a scary thought there. I mean, Shadow of the Sun going as well. That was a lockdown special. That's kind of scary.
I mean, the War Doctor Begins as well. That's...
yeah. Well, that is recent. Yeah. And then Early Adventures, it's now only the final 2 that are still not at the end of line.
It's interesting to how they pick what is end of line.
Yeah, I'll be interested in that. Because certainly I think they try to keep it somewhat consistent, don't they?
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to randomly throw on Time War 3 is selling poorly. Let's put that on, but we'll leave Time War 2 in production.
Yeah.
I suppose they want to keep that somewhat consistent as well, don't they? For when they're all gone, you don't have people coming along much later, getting into it, and then not being able to pick up later ones, but being able to pick up earlier ones. Yeah, I mean, Torchwood seems to be going in batches. Like, you'll have 6 of them each time they come along with these at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's now up to Ex Machina, which I think that might be 2021.
Yeah, I think
it might be 2020.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the 2.
Yeah, I think it's definitely there. Yeah, because Tropical Beaches, that's worth your time.
Yeah, that's a good one. If you want that physical, definitely go for that while it's still there. What else have we got here? I mean, Companion Chronicles Second Doctor Volume 3 only came out last year. Yeah, that's last April, and that's already going. That is insane.
Mm.
Yeah. Lady Christina Series 2 on there. Who cares? Deliberately antagonizing.
50 likes, 50 likes, and
and then River Song Series 7 and 8. Again, that's now all of the blue book style covers. Again, next one on the chopping board is New Recruit. Which, that came out around the same time, Third Doctor Adventures Volume 8. Which
I think
does that
month,
hint,
actually.
Yeah, the exact same month. So does that hint that maybe River does a little bit better than Third Doctor?
Maybe.
But certainly some, I wouldn't say surprising ones.
Yeah.
Because Companion Chronicles Second Doctor Volume 3, I think I didn't expect that to last that long anyway. Because it was one of those things that was put up for sale for pre-order ages ago.
Yes.
And then just seemed to keep getting delayed and delayed with COVID and such. but nevertheless, it's sobering, I suppose, is the way to describe it. Seeing something that recent being put on the end of line, and yet, like you say, War Doctor Begins as well. That is,
which is definitely worth your
amazing.
time.
Yeah. There we have it. If Luke likes Lady Christina, then it will be just like when you spent years disliking a black hole, and then your viewers made you like it. To be fair, I expect I would like Lady Christina, or at least I don't expect I'd strongly dislike it. It's just that thing of I'm
Money.
not into it, therefore I'm not spending money on it. I want to avoid being into it, so I can avoid spending money on it.
Yeah.
If we get Stephen Newman to promote it, amongst the Big Finish actors, we can get 50 likes.
Maybe I'll have to speak to Stephen about that.
Have you heard the theories that a AU writer is a pen name? What's the AU? It's probably going to be obvious as soon as it's said. Among Us.
Yeah, there we go.
No, I haven't. Which there it is.
There we go. There we are. Don't know.
I mean, there's not too many of them. I mean, Una McCormack's definitely real. I suppose it must be Ash Darby. No, I'm pretty sure I've heard Una on
Yeah.
behind the scenes and stuff.
Yeah, she's real.
And also been there for quite a while.
Yeah.
She did one of the stories for the very first Benny box set, didn't she? So where is? Yeah, I'm pretty sure the only other writer is Ash Darby, because we definitely heard Tim Foley and James Goss, obviously, as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. But I mean, who could it be? Is it Russell?
It could be, actually. That'd be cool.
So it's like I haven't heard the behind the scenes, so
or is it Janet?
Janet knows. There's a writer who has never spoken or been directly referenced by anyone in any behind the scenes interviews. The writer said he had been quoted in Vortex, and it was one generic sentence. I mean, they sometimes do that, don't they? For the Vortex on All of Time and Space, they had Ellery Quest interviewed on that, which was very meta.
Oh, yeah.
The theories are James Goss or Scott Hancock to R2D. And apparently Ash Darby also did Torchwood SGV and one on God Among Us 2. And then there's like a regular on Among Us. So, maybe. Don't know. But I can see why there's speculation on that. But at the same time, I don't see unless it is. I think the only one that would make sense to me is Russell, which I also think is the least likely. But at the same time, would that make sense? Because wouldn't you want to be promoting the fact that Russell
if it was Russell,
writing Torchwood at the same time? It could be Edward Collier.
You mean David Richardson?
Was it supposed to be David Richardson or Ken Bentley?
I think it was. I think it was meant to be David Richardson, I think.
Certainly Ken Bentley's wrote some.
Yeah.
The Eye of the Vortex, whatever. The final one in Agents of Chaos.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Eye of Harmony. I think
that's it, yeah.
Actually, yeah. Which I can't say I was a particular fan of. Did perhaps have similar energy to the Satanic Mill there. But yeah, anyway, enough speculation. What's that quote from Sir Charles Summers where he's saying, perhaps you can stop speculating about the unimaginable and focus on the very real. Something like that in the War Machines, which we're not allowed to mention when Stephen's here.
Don't mention the War Machines.
Anyway, whatever that quote is, let's focus on the very real, because Third Doctor Adventures Volume 2, it's very real, isn't it? And
out of print.
Very
out of print.
But it is real. We've got one each. It is
yes,
out
we
there,
have ours.
But it's only downloadable now from Big Finish, sadly. Which is, again, another sobering thing, really, isn't it? I don't know how many other the Third Doctor adventures are going.
I mean, it's quite sobering when you think next year we'll have been invested in Big Finish for 10 years.
Yeah,
I had that realization, I think Monday, and I was like, "Oh, that's wild."
Yeah, it is.
And this is nearly like 10 years old, 7 years old now. This box set.
I mean, coming up to 8 though. Yeah, it was scary turning 26 last month and thinking. I remember my 16th birthday getting all these different Classic Who DVDs, and that was like my first jump properly back down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And then, it would have been 17th birthday. I got the Fourth Doctor Adventures Series 3. Jesus, time flies.
It does.
This is the only Third Doctor Adventures out of print, but it's still available on other websites. This stylish one.
I mean, I think they've got 4 left of volume 4.
Oh, really?
They did it.
I mean,
when they're
might
doing
be
like
even less by now.
Yeah,
they were doing. I think it's been a while since I last did one of those.
I might have a little live check, shall we?
Yeah, that's it. It might have gone out of print since stylish one last checked.
I'll just go on Third Doctor Adventure page.
It's annoying. It doesn't show you though. You have to go to the individual tab to see whether or not it's still there or not.
Oh yeah, it's still there.
Still there. Grab it while you can, because that's one that's worth picking up. But
arguably, I think that's the box set that breaks the mold of the first 3.
And then so it does feel like this range very much has a progression to it, doesn't it? With like each box set is breaking new ground in terms of the Third Doctor, pushing the boat out a bit more. And obviously the way this one broke new ground was that it was freed from the shackles of narration, which was one of the main detractors of the first box set. I think it's sort of something people could universally agree was not needed for this range. I think I loved it in early adventures, but I can't.
You can see why they did it.
Yeah,
because it's a sort of safety blanket for, I guess, Tim. So if people weren't immersed in what Tim was doing, then like, well, it's just the narrator doing it.
It was very much. It was in early recast stages at Big Finish.
It was the first recast properly of a major character. I mean, Ben, bless him, great. But
I mean, that was the very same month, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's September 2015.
And again, that was in a range that had narration anyway. So yeah,
I mean, I'm very tempted to go back and listen to Volume 1 again now after listening to this.
Oh, okay. I can't say I am, which isn't a spoiler for how I feel about this box set, by the way. It's just how I remember Volume 1, really.
That's what I think this is one thing what listening to this is. Tim. We know Tim doesn't do a lot of preparation from what we've been told, bless him. And it's just amazing how Tim's voice has become a bit more gravelly over the years. Because there are moments in, I think, Transcendence of Aphros where you get the Welsh slipping in and out, phasing in and out. What I noticed.
I think thing is as well, it's sort of like it's more comfortable for him now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas like, around this time, he was very much preparing, like had all his clips to listen to and such to really get into the character. He had certain phrases to help him enter that mode. He had Katie with him for a lot of the early box sets, sort of, cheering him on through it and such.
But it's interesting in Transcendence of Aphros, you've literally got Katie doing her Pertwee, and you're like,
yeah, you do.
Oh, I don't know which one I prefer.
Oh, that's harsh.
No, but that's a testament to how far Tim's come now, because you get to Volume 7 or the Annihilator, and you're like, that's John.
Yeah, that's true. But I still feel the Third Doctor character there though, and that's mainly where I'm at. But yeah, I can see what you mean about maybe with age, the graveliness has.
It's like
there. I mean, it might not even be an age thing.
Yeah. But I was just
movies.
thinking when we listened to series 3 or 4 Doctor going, how young Tom sounds and how different to what he sounds now. It kind of had that sort of same feeling for me.
Yeah, bit of culture shock really from what you're used to.
Yeah, I think
Because
that's
where
what it
we've
is.
been going along through the box sets,
We've aged with it,
yeah,
you know.
and we've experienced that slow transition. So when you suddenly go all the way back, it is very different. But yeah, I mean, with the whole narration thing, it was there to sort of like appease people who were against recast, saying, "Oh no, but you could treat it as not technically a recast; it's just the narrator reading in the lines." But I
Yes.
think that wasn't fooling anyone anyway. I think the people who were strongly against the idea were against it
They
nevertheless.
weren't
Like
gonna
that
pick it
narration
up.
wasn't helping. And the people who were for the idea of recasting were saying, we don't need the narration anyway. Just let him be the third Doctor fully. And so this is sort of freeing him from those shackles and just letting loose in this box set. And yeah, fully recreating an era at this point. Because
I
I think
think,
narration works for the 60s. I don't
yeah,
think it works for the 70s.
I think as the 60s, you have the missing episode soundtracks, or the early adventures are very structured like that.
Yeah.
Whereas you can't really do that with the Pertwee stuff. And it's interesting with, you say, recreating an era. I don't think this box set goes as hard as my memory does as the first set. It doesn't feel as zany and as try-hardy as what we have recently, I would say.
Yeah, I think they've worked out now how to recreate an era without forcing it. It doesn't feel derivative at all. I think that's one of the things that was holding Volume 1 back. Whereas this box set is sort of more going in its own direction.
Yeah.
It certainly got that same thing with the soundtrack, at least Transcendence of Aphros. I'd say the Hidden Realm is much more its own thing.
Yeah,
Much
it's
more
more
like,
ethereal, I would say, from what it's music-wise.
Yeah, music-wise, but also as a whole,
Yeah,
I think it feels much more like what Big Finish would have done with the Third Doctor, say back in the early days, like the 150 time, if John had been around.
I see. I've
Probably a
got
bit
thoughts
dark.
on that. I've got thoughts on that, but
I don't think it's not in like the way that Big Finish now very much try to recreate their same time period. Like
yeah.
Transcendence of Aphros very much feels of the era, which I mean, have you got anything more to say about the narration before we get into that, or
No,
about the
I'm all covered.
set as a whole?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think should we just dive into Transcendence of Aphros then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, for those who don't know, is set on a planet that is due to explode very shortly, and there are a group of religious cultists, really, who believe that when the planet explodes, they will transcend and become like these beings of pure consciousness, similar to where Rassilon was intending to take the Time Lords. And so that presents a bit of a moral dilemma, rather similar to what you get in Shadow of the Sun. If anyone's heard that one, they do follow similar lines, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like Shadow of the Sun's just treading on that same ground. I think it does have its own things to say on that topic.
It feels like a dig at Barry Letts sisters in a way, because it feels like a very Barry Letts idea. Like a
Barry
Barry
Letts
Letts
wanted Earth to blow
to
up so he could transcend.
Yeah, it feels very sort of not like a dig, but a very Barry Letts, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, you've also got the typical Third Doctor thing of a massive corporization of Galactus, isn't it? Yeah, they built a whole dome around the planet so that when it explodes, they can absorb the energy. But as usually goes with Doctor Who stories, there's something more going on here. This isn't a natural phenomenon, so it's a race against time to discover why this is happening to the planet and who could be behind it. So I think I love how Third Doctor this feels. It feels like you've got elements from loads of different stories.
It feels Carnival meets Colony meets Death to the Daleks. I would say.
Yeah, I think particularly Colony and some Carnival vibes in there. But, I mean, you've got a little encampment. You can very much imagine a lot of these people going around in rather simple clothing, similar to what the colonists in Colony and Space War. You've got giant lizards out there on the plains attacking them.
Yeah.
So it's obviously taking a lot from that. Galactus feels like it takes a lot from IMC. You can imagine a lot of those characters going around in that same sort of black and red uniform, perhaps. But at the same time, it never feels derivative of Colony in space. It feels like it's got a lot of its own ideas and elements going for it. It's just taking that as
it has its own message.
Yeah,
really.
very much so. It's just sort of like an aesthetical jumping off point.
Yeah.
And, very much as a way to make it feel like it's something of the era, which I think it fits comfortably in. How about you?
Yeah, I would say so, because in terms of like the Death to the Daleks thing, I sort of imagine like the cult, like the Exelons, with like the sacrifice, and like the root being very much like the Phyraxian worms. I sort of got that feeling that you can imagine like the glowing of like the root sort of mouth being like the Phyraxian worm with like the orange glow. Yeah, I think that it's a nice template, and you can imagine sort of this sort of grayscale quarry of them sort of wandering around, really, and with like the buggy sequence to get the TARDIS out of there.
Oh yeah, you can very much imagine that being a very similar to Buggy to the Colony buggy.
Yeah, you can imagine that. Yeah.
But I suppose it also takes that thing of this is very much something we can only do on audio, because I don't think building a dome over a quarry would have been within the BBC's budget at the time. I don't think they could do it now, although obviously CGI and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's nice that it's taking that, but also going somewhere else with it. But I love a lot of how warm the encampment scenes feel, or at least, in the earlier half of the story.
I think that's where Guy Adams excels with like character, because we say that with Rise of the New Humans, how much it gets Free and Joe bob on, and I think there are elements where you see that here.
Yeah, although they don't spend too much time together in this one. I think they're split up fairly early and don't unite until right at the end. So it's given them both their own things to do. But I love the warm scenes in Muller Finzi's little tent where she's making her chili.
Curry,
Is it? Yeah, curry, isn't it? I think I suppose it's chili at first and then a curry later, but it might be a curry the whole way.
Well, I think the third Doctor wants chili sauce, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh, I think she's putting hot chilies in as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
There. And it's nice how that's introducing her glasses as well. How she's saying about how she's not cooking with them on because the infrareds does her head in.
Because and then you realise why she's blind and who's behind that.
Yeah,
which I always thought was made more of a bigger deal within the story, but it's very late on.
Yeah, there's a big part 3 cliffhanger, which I think was a huge deal at the time. It's wonderfully built up to as well. It's one of those great reveals that even when you're expecting it, because you've listened to it, who knows how
you
many
pay
times,
attention to those little bits,
Yeah, it nevertheless hits hard, I think, because of the way it's written, the way it's performed, the way that build-up happens. Similar to the World Enough and Time cliffhanger.
Yes.
It's about the build up to that reveal, the anticipation of it, more than just the actual surprise of it. I think, and those are by far the best reveals, the ones that can get you hyped without having to break a sweat.
Yeah.
But
you were sweating when you first
have to rely on
it.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my god, I'm actually doing this. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a bit. they make you think at first, don't they? They make you think,
Yeah.
are we actually going here? No, we can't be going here. Oh, we
Yeah.
are going here. Boom,
Yeah.
we've gone there.
Yeah.
And then cut to the credits.
I mean, I love how this sort of ties into season 10 with Frontier in Space with the President of Earth, Dora. That's nice for it feels like one big. That's the thing with these Third Doctor stories at the beginning, is they feel very part of season 10.
Yeah. I mean, this is certainly it's the gap between Planet of the Daleks and Green Death now, where they are traveling out in space. The TARDIS is working again. I think Hidden Realm, it's safe to say, is maybe more season 9.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
because certainly it's mentioned that the TARDIS isn't quite working. It's unclear whether that's just season 10, the Doctor's still tinkering with it, and they happen to be on Earth at this time, or if that is Time Lord exile imposed upon him. But yeah. I feel like for those kind of stories, it's nice to sort of headcanon them as earlier anyway.
Yes.
Just so you're not too
fatigued,
back end loading the Third Doctor era too much. It's nice to have these stories spread throughout the Third Doctor and Joe's time, especially when you've got a whole year to fill between Terror of the Autons and The Mind the Evil. I've loved the box set uniformity of the first 4. I mean, should we talk about covers quickly, actually?
Yeah, we can do.
That was an interesting point of contention at the time, isn't it? Because looking back now, I don't think they're too... I'll take a cover like this with a black top Pertwee over what you've got just over your shoulder there.
With James McCrimmon.
It's just nice having a bit of a window into the story, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's amazing where you're just trying to piece together what bits from which story.
I mean, you've also got the bandstand and the magpies going about. And then you got Muller Finsey to the left there, and presumably that's Aphros behind her with the planetary shield.
Yeah.
Made of duralinium, isn't it? Which is again something else from the Third Doctor era. And I think that's what goes throughout Doctor Who, doesn't it? Duralinium, I swear. I can't remember which story does that first come up in.
I feel like it's a Hartnell. Is it with Dalek Invasion of Earth when they're doing like the puzzle, or is it a chase? Can't remember.
The puzzle is Dalek Invasion of Earth. But yeah, I swear duralinium's not mentioned though. Who knows anyway. Again, one of our tangents that doesn't really mean much. But yeah, I'd say I like how far the Third Doctor covers themselves have gone since though. I think the main awkward thing was having the same image of the Third Doctor twice, once on the sidebar, then again on the main cover. Feels just a bit excessive.
But it also feels like it's a bit of a disservice to John in a way by just covering
John and Tim, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm glad they got over that and fully committed by the time Volume 5 came around.
They were going to do it for Volume 3 because there's an image of Pertwee's face on the sidebar.
Yeah, but it's still like the blacked out image in the middle.
But it's on the booklet, but not on the actual main cover, I think.
Yeah, that was an odd one, wasn't it? I like that the costume changes, though. Even if it is just recoloring the basic image. Do they ever edit the frills or anything between covers?
No. That's just for Terror of the Autons. Radio Times photo shoot, recolored, add a bow tie. You've got a new outfit.
Yeah. Oh, so they at least add a bow tie.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But, I mean, it works though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad they're not still sticking with it. I'm glad we're getting some variety there. But yeah, I can't.
Would they have done that for the Annihilators? Would they have just, sort of washed Trouton's face out and just had the two?
I mean, do you black out the brick? Would it just be Fraser Hines' face that's visible?
Yeah, that's where the issue comes, doesn't it, with stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of funny, isn't it, the evolution of this range? Because you did start off with it just being Tim, and then Volume 5 was where the door was really opened wide with Liz and the Brigadier recast, and then the Brigadier especially opened up so many possibilities.
I think the
for
range,
Strange.
you noticed that big chunks of it was missing, and you realize that it could stagnate very quickly without these key players.
Yeah. But at the same, I feel like it's sort of refreshing going back to this time now. When we do have those other stories, it's nice to have a bit of a change as well.
Yeah.
Like, because these work as sort of palette cleansers, I suppose, changes from the norm. But when this is all you're getting, it feels wrong in a way because you don't have that full Third Doctor era experience. And so I think these work better in hindsight to revisit now than they do back when they first came out. And we were sort of waiting for, okay, come on, just give us the Brigadier now, please. It's just, his absence
by
is
volume
much
3
less.
Is when you get that absence, I would say, the most.
Yeah, I think Hidden Realm works very well in explaining why it's not a Brigadier and unit story. With Storm of the Horrifacts, it does feel rather. It feels like they're trying to recreate that time period without the major players, and that's when it sticks out more like a sore thumb. But yeah, certainly with Transcendence of Aphros, you have less of that issue there because it is a story out in space.
Yeah.
And it's also the first just Third Doctor and Joe story because we had Mike Yates come along, which again, you understand him being there because again, you've got a returning cast member from the original series at the time, so it makes sense. But at the same time, it feels wrong having him going out into space or just having him investigating on his own.
And actually going on a date
and the
with
Brigadier
Joe.
just awkwardly over the other end of a phone call.
Yeah.
Yeah. His presence there, while I think it was nice having Richard Franklin there for it, is certainly one of the things that felt a bit off about that first box set, because it's one of those things that it's nice to have for a change, not something you necessarily want to start off with. You want to set the baseline before you start deviating from it.
Yeah.
That's probably a very juicy mixed metaphor there, but yeah, I think hopefully everyone sees what I'm getting at with that. Hot take from Stylish One: box set covers without individual covers should represent the stories in the box set in some way. That's why many painting covers aren't very good. Yeah, I can agree there. Like, it's nice when you have covers like the that series of 8th Doctor and Lucy, 7th Doctor, New Adventures, those covers where you've got like little windows into the different stories at least, just to give you something there. I mean, certainly as well, more recently, since we're getting less stories per box set, with it being like 2 or 3 is probably about the average, you've got more room on a cover to fit all those stories in there.
Yeah.
Rather than when it is a 4-story box set, you can sort of understandable that at least one of them is going to fall by the wayside a bit. Someone also asked, do you think the story is also trying to work a Rodin, not having a certain recast, or do you think it works as a subversion of a very common type of Third Doctor story? What do you mean by Rodin there, Stylish One?
Do you mean fill in because of Mother? Who Mother's trying to fill in?
I mean, work around. There we go. Yeah, I see what you mean, Stylish One. Thank you. I think it works very well as a subversion, and also I don't think it'd work as a story with that particular character there, because they're then instantly recognizable to the Doctor and Joe, and it sends it in a very different direction.
I think if this story was made now, it'd be a very different Transcendence of Aphros, I would say.
Oh, you think they would go for it?
I think they probably would go for it. I think they would have gone for it and the last part it'd be very colony. You'd get how that works, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but
I think it would.
I kind of feel like I prefer it this way though.
I
I'm so
agree.
happy it happened this way.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I mean, it was certainly one I was a huge fan of at the time. Do you think it lived up to your expectations of it?
I think it's gone down.
I agree.
Because I think because of the quality we've had,
Mm.
I was like, this is still good.
Oh,
but
definitely.
I know there's so much better stuff.
I think it's like that thing. If we were starved for high quality Third Doctor, so when this came along, we very much latched onto that.
It was a huge step up.
It stood far above the others at the time, and so that very much helped it. I think in long term, when we remembered it, we remembered it as better than it was, because we have since had a lot more brilliant Third Doctor stories, whereas at the time this was an outlier in the range, I'd say.
Yeah, considering the 4 stories, this was the best of the 4, and I would say the first 3 Third Doctor box sets kind of have a trend where you have a strong story. I think the first story is always the strongest, and the second story is always the weakest. I would say, from my personal viewpoint.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It's the 4th box set that really bucks that trend.
Yeah.
And then I'd say, the 5th box set continues it.
Yeah.
6th box set as well.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that.
Yeah. The 7th box set, they're both bloody brilliant. I think you're more of an Unzal guy. I'm more of a golf guy. But it's like one of those things where I can glad. I don't think there's anything wrong with the idea of the Unzal incursion being better.
Yeah.
8th box set, I'm not sure which I prefer. That's very much that's sort of like the opposite of it's almost like with 2 of them coming out in the same year.
Yeah.
You had, instead of 1 strong story, 1 weaker story, you got 2 strong stories and 2 weaker stories.
Funny
how that works out. But anyway, let's bring it back. Reverse to volume 2 now. What would you give Transcendence of Aphros overall then?
I'd say a solid 8.
Yeah, I'd go with an 8 as well.
I like Bernard Hollier in it. He reminded me very much of like Cuthbert. With that sort of big prophet man. He was fun.
Was he the big?
He was like the main bad guy of Galactics.
I swear that was a different actor.
No.
Just check. Where is it?
He was
Carswell. Oh, yes. Yeah. That's right. It's Nigel Peaver who's Quail, and that's the like agent, isn't it? Yeah. Bernard Holly is Carswell. Carswell is the brilliant I'm annoyed character.
Yeah.
He's got his own.
Why are you bringing this to me? I'm not going to pick it up. It's not my problem.
Yeah, it's a role that there's a lot to chew on.
Yeah,
I think. So it gives him a great deal of fun to be had, and it's a bit of comic relief, but at the same, it doesn't feel out of place.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel just there to make the story light. Yeah, I liked him. He was a brilliant character in this.
Do you know? Well, when Mother started hypnotizing people, did you imagine like the green swirly vortex, like the Pertwee intro? Because I did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
I sort of just imagined
the green swirl.
Whatever. It's like just a typical hypnotizing thing. Like you could see it in the cover.
Yeah,
like
I just
sort of swirls really.
Yeah, I just imagine like the swirly. When it gets to like the writer's name of the title sequence, I was like, oh, it's a green version of that.
That's fair.
I
mean, yeah, maybe they would have done that at the time through CSO. I was like, they used it in Day of the Daleks.
Yeah, that's true. It's also a bit like Andor, like the Eldari stuff in a way. It sort of had that sort of feel.
I could see like a little bit of the natives there.
All the natives waiting for like this big solar type thing, really.
Yeah, the eye opening, or in this case, the planet exploding.
Yeah, but yeah, I think there's some good moral dilemmas with like a young family. You know, try to provide for the best your kid, but you got to kill your kid in the process in the hope for a better life and better world.
Yeah, it certainly does raise the interesting questions of like religious freedom and such, and the idea of should these people be allowed to do this, really?
Because that child
Especially,
can't consent to it as well.
Yeah, with the child especially. But I do. It's a message that overall I think Shadow of the Sun does do better, actually. Not
Okay.
necessarily with the child angle of it, but I do think with the whole, these people are idiots who need to be saved from themselves angle.
Yeah.
I think maybe it helps that with them as well, especially the time it came out with COVID just striking. You had a lot of people avoiding reality.
Yeah. You had like a lot of denial.
Yeah, and so that's all like the message of that story is very much, you can deny reality all you want, but it won't deny you.
Yeah.
It is still there, no matter if you stop believing in it. And so I think that gets that side of the message down stronger. But I do think this does it quite well as well, and certainly throws up some interesting moral questions.
Especially for Joe, who's a character who's all about life and love.
Yeah, it's interesting because they are very much a group of hippies at the same time, aren't they?
Yeah.
But they're basically pretty much suicidal hippies who don't think they're going to be committing suicide. Yeah, it is. And yet they feel very 70s as well.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, you can imagine those dried out rag type clothes.
Yeah.
But shall we talk about the Hidden Realm now?
Yeah.
Which Transcendence of Aphros, not as good as I remember, but still very strong. Hidden Realm, better than I remember.
I've struggled with this one. It's one where I listen to it, but it doesn't hold my attention. So I could easily, if I'm not in it, I'm like, I just want to move on to another story. And I've got a reason to why I probably think that.
I mean, go for it.
I personally, I don't think that this is a Third Doctor story.
Yeah, I do. That's all like what I was saying earlier about how it very much feels like it's taken it in a different direction.
It feels more Fourth Doctor.
I thought that as well.
You get, especially when he's with the Third Doctor and sort of the house, guest house owner, you can imagine like a Stones of Blood, like Mrs. Rumford type relationship dynamic.
Stones of Blood as well, I'd say is quite comparable to this one because
you've got that
strong first half and then sort of weird sci-fi setting second half.
It's kind of android invasion in a way.
Yeah, I can see that as well. Yeah, with the processing / mind thrasher.
It's going for like the quintessential English village, which 70s who does a lot, and it's great. But
it's also got like a new town on top of that.
Yeah, and
which the Third Doctor is against that style of architecture.
Yeah, and I think it's going for very 70s because you have like the police sergeant who feels like he belongs in like Minder or the Professionals. He reminds me sort of like an Arthur Daly, sort of John Ford type character. Like it's kind of got that 70s cop show feel with like the two coppers leading part one, a fair bit of the story. But also, it's kind of got a Midsummer Murders feel with like the ethereal like music and the magpie. It's a weird blend of
the music's odd, isn't it? But I don't know how I feel about that whole spooky angle of the village. Like it's sort of trying to do a bit of a Quatermass 2 with people acting oddly and like getting that sort of paranoia of people not being who they seem, of people being swapped out
Yeah.
or taken over, or whatever. But I don't think much is ever really done with that
Yeah.
beyond like a couple of scenes of people staring while they go into the bandstand. I don't think that creepy, almost horror angle of the story is ever really delved into as much. And I think instead we spend a bit too much time in the hidden realm itself and sort of demystify it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think part one's the strongest,
Hmm.
building up of the mystery.
I think the use of magpies is great because that's like a big superstitious thing, isn't it? But they're quickly, they're robots. Move along, you know.
Yeah, that's all. I think they're almost revealed as robots too soon, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And I think the fact that it is all very technobabbly explained ruins that the spookiness that it could have had.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny that both these stories feature seemingly nice old women who turn out to be evil.
Yeah. Oh,
It's funny how that's a recurring trend there.
well, that's the link of the box set, you know.
Yeah, don't trust old women is the message this is going
Yeah.
for. They may offer you tea and feed you up, but really they're planning to either steal all your worldly possessions and kill you, or steal your soul.
I mean, that's just Paradise Towers. We should have learned that lesson from, cannibal
Yeah.
grannies. But no.
Unfortunately, Pex wasn't coming along to save anyone in these two stories.
No, definitely not. Yeah, it's a weird one, this one, because I can't say I enjoyed it, but I listened to it, and that's all I can really say on it.
Do you prefer it to both of the stories in Volume 1, or?
From memory, I think I prefer the Prisoners of the Lake.
Really?
But that's just going off memory. I've only listened to Prisoners of the Lake, I think, once or twice.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't listened to Prisoners of the Lake recently enough either. So, I mean, I would say I prefer Hidden Realm, but I could listen to Prisoners of the Lake and prefer it. Who knows?
I mean, that's what I'm probably going to do right after this. So I'll probably have an answer next stream going, well, there we go.
As a follow-up to this one.
Yeah.
But I mean, Whoever Small Collection prefers Hidden Realm to Transcendence of Aphros, interestingly enough. Musa says, Evil Old Ladies, the box set.
That's a tagline.
That would be what this box set is if it came out today.
Yeah. Don't trust your granny. Take that out of context. That'll be a new clip.
I mean, one element that I didn't pick up on at all the first time, and is rather subtle in Hidden Realm, like it's never necessarily pointed out to the audience, and I don't think there's much of a message behind it.
Yeah.
But it's sort of the race angle with DS Joseph. How there certainly are characters who are sort of being racist, really. I mean, especially when you have a character who's a member of the SS, and you have like a moment of you're having a laugh, aren't you, when he's recommended his body to be put into. It's all there in the subtext, and it's sort of when you first really get foreshadowed, I suppose, that nice old lady character. I can't remember her name. Miss Barnett, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
That's sort of your first hint that she's not the nice old lady she seems to be. Because certainly she has a bit of a funny reaction to him at first before the sergeant, not the sergeant, sorry, the detective constable comes along after that. So yeah, it's certainly that. It's something that you can imagine perhaps they would have explored a bit in the 70s, like you've got Cotton in or certainly would have been cut, but maybe not a topic that would have been brought up in the story. So it's something they tackle. It's always something they tackle in the Mutants, but it's there through an analogy. It's never tackled directly, and I think I'm probably giving this story too much credit for that, to be fair, because I don't think it's about tackling that directly. but it's just interesting that it's nevertheless there in the story.
Mm.
Yeah. And I suppose it's an interesting way of including, a casting that wouldn't have necessarily been likely to happen at the time,
Yes.
because unfortunately there was much more casual racism about then, and sort of like within BBC as well, within casting, and so yeah, and to have that reflected in that some characters, not just members of the SS, but just old ladies running hotels, would have that reaction is interesting, keeping it to the time, I suppose.
Yeah.
But again, it's it's sci-fi, it's escapism, so sometimes it is just nice to have that representation there without having to tackle that.
Yeah.
And I mean, we see that with a lot of historicals now, how you will sometimes cast a black actor just to see what a black actor can do with a role, or or any. I mean, that's sort of like the main, because you had the which wife of Henry VIII was it that did the series?
Oh, was it Anne Boleyn?
Yeah, I
Was
mean,
it
you've had
yeah.
goodness knows how many white women cast in a role. Why not just go for a different actor? They're never going to look exactly like Anne Boleyn anyway. What does it matter?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's way more of a discussion of that element of the story than it probably merits being brought up. But yeah, it's just interesting, that thought process, and also it's the sort of, I suppose, how you have that thing of blind casting, or
Yes.
sort of, I think it said that in a script, if a character is not specifically stated to be non-white, people automatically will assume that the character's white. I mean, I think there's sort of a it's subconscious bias, isn't it? It's called. But I imagine we do it a lot for audio as well. We'll just instantly picture a white person when the character or actor might not be white anyway, which is sort of, it's a hard flaw to address, I suppose, but something to acknowledge that we do sometimes, unfortunately. And I suppose for us as well, it's just us projecting ourselves onto who we're listening to, and it's all just, I suppose, shamefully easier to imagine just that. I mean, especially for something recreating classic Who as well, which is majority white casting. But yeah, so I think Big Finish has got some fairly diverse casting throughout.
Yeah, I'd say so. They're very good.
Yeah. I mean, particularly, you do have much more roles for female characters as well. Whereas at the time, it would often be Jo in like a very male-dominated story,
Yeah.
maybe one other female in the cast for her to talk to. Yeah, I mean, there's even a fun line about that in the story, isn't there? Where she's saying, you want... Oh, no, this is in Transcendence of Aphros, actually, to be fair, where she's talking to one of the lizard creatures saying, you have thick skin, try being one of the only females on a military base. That's how you get real thick skin. So, yeah, I'll end that tangent there now. But yeah, I mean, do you have any thoughts on that at all?
I think you've covered it all well.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not something I actually picked up on, actually.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it definitely never occurred to me the first time, but I think it's because it is never made too obvious, and I think it would almost be unnatural if it was made too obvious.
Yeah.
But I think once you realize it's there, you then pick up on other things going on around it as well. Because like the SS character's line when, it's mentioned him being given the detective sergeant's body. Obviously, this is by Zim, who has no real idea of racism being an alien and such. On humans very much the same to him. Yeah. And so him suggesting that, and then the character going, "You're joking, right?" It's just sort of implied that, the character's a bit of a wet character. Why would he want to assume that life? But then with the added context of that, once it's picked up on, you realize, oh, it's just him being your typical Nazi SS racist, really. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, there's some interesting thematic stuff throughout the story as well about living life to the fullest, really, and not wanting to cheat death. I mean, you have that with the parallel between Jo and her cousin Stephanie about how they're both living very different lives. She's settled with a husband already, while Jo is off doing her own thing still.
There was one bit what Jo says, but I'll knock your block off. I'm like, I can't imagine Jo doing that and saying that.
Yeah, that felt a bit.
Yeah, I don't know if it
odd,
was just me. I
actually.
thought
Yeah,
that
now you
felt a bit out of character.
Yeah. Now you mention it, the more I think about that, yeah, that does feel
It doesn't
a
seem
bit
very
odd
Jo.
for Jo. Yeah. Also, I feel like they could have done more with Stephanie.
Yeah,
Like, I think she just feels like she's only Joe's cousin, so that this story has a reason to
for them to
happen.
be there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, like, I don't think they do too much with those two. I mean, they don't even have that many scenes together, really. Like,
Ellie,
Stephanie's
isn't it? Really,
hardly in. Yeah.
she's just
Yeah,
playing the
it's much more.
stereotypical. Is it like husband gone? Is it? I think is it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's like the police are investigating me, and that's it. And like, oh, there's a kid who says his parents aren't, real, or whatever.
Yeah,
It is.
I think that whole angle of the story doesn't work. It's like that invasion of the body snatchers style thing. Although I like the twist on this that, it's not aliens stealing bodies, it's humans stealing other humans' bodies with the help of an alien. But yeah, I think ultimately it just feels like there's too much technobabble explaining it, so you don't really get that horror or creepiness across. A lot of it's revealed quite early as well, so that you always know when a character has been replaced, like in the narrative. So you never get that who can you
Surprise.
trust angle of it. Yeah, it's never a surprise reveal or anything like that. I mean, the one surprise reveal you do have is for a character who isn't even taken over anyway. They've just chosen to work for Zim because of the promise of a new life after they've spent their current one. I feel like there was potential here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it never really reaches it. But wonderful characters at the same time. I love the constable and the sergeant characters.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, the constable is another character who's sort of hardly in it because he's replaced quite early on before coming back at the end. And so with him, you've got this beautifully painted character in just part one, really.
Yeah.
And I mean, part one, it's very much like half of it's a two-hander with him and the detective, really, isn't it? And then it's sort of jumping back and forth between their Midsummer Murders storyline, as you put it, and the third Doctor and Jo arriving in the village.
Yeah.
I do love that ethereal music, though. It's great. It doesn't quite suit the era, but I still like it. Yeah, and it certainly adds a lot of atmosphere. Part 1 and 2 is where the atmosphere really is. But then it all sort of falls apart again. It does a Stones of Blood. It does an android invasion in the second half.
Yeah, because you can imagine sort of like part 2 being like the devil's hump and, chaos is being unleashed.
Yeah. I mean, the hidden realm aspect itself as well, I think is just a very boring visual. Like, it never really gives you anything stimulating to think about. Like, even Stephanie comments in there, doesn't she, about it's a very dirty place.
Yeah.
You sort of, like you say, Android Invasion, I just imagine it being those sort of rather bland, dark corridors.
Yeah.
There's nothing. The hidden realm itself is an exciting prospect of like this plane hidden beneath our own.
Like, this is the 70s. You could have done some psychedelic stuff.
I mean, this came out the same year as Stranger Things, which is something beneath our own realm. Yeah, it just feels like it's set in tunnels for no reason. Like, it feels like it could easily have just been an underground thing going on beneath Bramfield.
That's how I
it would have
imagined
made
it
a
to
difference.
begin with,
Yeah.
really.
Like, why couldn't the Hidden Realm itself be more of a realm
Yeah.
rather than
Kingdom.
just an underground bland location of tunnels? Well. Hoover's Small Connection says, I think I just have a soft spot for the invasion of the body snatchers trope.
That's fine.
Completely understandable.
Yeah.
It's a good trope. And I think there are times when it is done well here. But there are also times where it's not quite done so well here.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me at least. I mean, I want to like it. I was surprised by how much I did enjoy it. But I do think it's very flawed as well. And I definitely felt myself having to focus to stay on board during the second half of it. Like particularly part 4. I think the way it's all wrapped up, it was very much
It's
like,
very
right, come on,
quick.
I've got to get through this. Yeah.
And it's so underwhelming how it's resolved as well. And you're just like, really? We spent, like an hour and a half on this.
Yeah. I think there's some poor pacing in there, isn't there? It
Yeah.
feels like it's an early draft of this story.
Hmm.
I think there's a lot of good ideas here. There's a good story in there. Some good execution of what has been done. But on the whole, it needed a couple more passes to really bring what it's trying to say into focus. Maybe trim some ideas out that weren't quite working, like the whole, my mum and dad aren't my mum and dad, those angles. It's like nice, creepy moments, but they don't work with it overall.
Yeah.
Oh, Hoover's Full Collection said something interesting here. I imagine the Hidden Realm kind of like the Three Doctors and Mega Corridors. I can see that.
Yeah, I can see it.
Because I think doesn't the old lady character, Miss Barnett, describe it as beautiful when she first sees it? Or is that the realm itself, or is that just like the entrance to it and the skies on the night?
I imagine the end when she saw like portals or something, probably, yeah.
So
that
like
most would have run away. Most would have run away or something like that, but I stayed or something like that.
Yeah. Serial killer energy right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, rating?
I mean, I finished it, and I think that's more than what I can say for it in the past.
Did you only finish it though because we had to talk about it here?
Yeah.
If you were just listening to this for pure enjoyment alone,
yeah.
Do you think you would have stopped?
I would have stopped probably, yeah.
I mean, at least it's not too chunky.
Yeah, it's like the longest part's like half an hour.
Yeah.
The other's like 24, 26.
Yeah.
So
it's not too egregious, at least. Like, I had an easier time with this than I did with quite a bit of the Return of Joe Jones box set.
Oh,
I'd rather do this than Supernature.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree.
Yeah, even though it's a 4-parter.
Yeah,
I feel like this would go past quicker than Supernature did. That was also something else I was thinking about Transcendence of Aphros. Do you think it could have worked as an older Joe story with that parallel there with an older companion and an older associate of a certain other character?
I think you could have done
where they went through.
Yeah, I think you could have done something with that, actually, yeah. I mean, I sort of got like an Iron Shore feel from Aphros this time, having listened to Iron Shore again. Yeah.
Yeah, did you give it a rating?
Oh, no. I'd probably say 6.
Yeah, I think 6 is fair. Yeah, and then 7 overall for the box set. That would put us at.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know. It sort of feels a bit low, surprisingly.
Considering
we used
how
to
much
rave about this box set.
Yeah, like this is it. This is great. Like Aphros is like a 9 out of 10, but it just shows the evolution of this range.
Yeah, how many better box sets have come along since?
Like it's still good. It's still good.
Yeah, I think it's improved. It's odd because I certainly feel like I enjoyed it less this time around, but at the same time, I think it's improved by the fact that this is now a deviation from the norm rather than
Yeah.
being the norm.
Hmm.
And so it's like nice, but if you're in the mood for something different than your normal Third Doctor adventures, you've got this to go for.
Yeah.
But we've got our bread and butter to go beside this.
Yes.
Yeah, this is our Marmite.
And it probably makes you appreciate what's coming up next. You're like, well, we had this, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe listen to this and then listen to Return of Joe Jones. You might be like, oh yeah, or maybe we didn't have it so bad back then. I don't know.
Who knows? But Intelligence for War, at least. I'm still excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. We'll probably get a trailer tomorrow now we've done this, but you know.
Stylish Ones just put something very amusing in the chat. Times change and so must I, but I'll always remember when the best Third Doctor adventure was me.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. Stylish One also asked any recommendations from the sale.
Was that the Terry Nation one?
Yeah. I mean, Dalek Universe, always.
I mean, I'm tempted by the vinyls actually. Because they've dropped down to I think 89 quid, I think, or something like that.
Oh, they're putting them even lower now. Yeah, none of the vinyls have gone up print yet, have they? Yeah, how much is it? Yeah, 89.25 for the whole batch. So that's about £5 off each.
It's not too bad.
So yeah, you're pretty much just getting it with free delivery. I know shipping costs actually only 10, so cheaper than that. Yeah, so £100 overall really for those three.
That's not bad.
No. What else have we got going on here? A lot of Blake 7 in there. Still a lot of Blake 7 in there to scroll through. Got Survivors now. Oh, I think there was something recent on there that's already gone on sale, if I remember rightly. Yeah, I can't remember what that was. MS3 for the Daleks. That's definitely worth a pick up. $6.49 on download, $7.49 on CD. Yeah, bargain at that price.
4 years old now.
Yeah, that's definitely worth checking out. Yeah, that's good. Oh yeah, it was Dalek's Genesis of Terror already on sale.
Yeah, £9.89.
Yeah. Or $11.69 for the CD.
Do I feel cheated?
I mean, you bundled, didn't you? Anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and also if you buy it now, you'd have to pay delivery costs. Whereas if you pre-ordered it, you wouldn't. Sixth Doctor and Charlie stories are great. Everyone says Stylish One. Who was War Collectibles says, by the way, I'm on the second Iris Wildtime audio novel, meaning I have 24 more releases till I catch up, and that means 62 stories.
Wow.
That's it. That's a lot of stories since, what was that, March?
Yeah.
How did Big Finish put this much out?
And we've listened to probably over
half,
75% of that, probably.
Yes, but is that purely Doctor Who Whovian, or I imagine so. Or he's like Doctor Who on Worlds of Doctor Who. I don't know whether you're going through Blake 7 and such as well. Escape from Reality's on sale. Worth waiting until it drops below the original pre-order price. He Who Fights the Monsters, though.
But definitely worth it. That's one of the best, probably one of the best Time War stories Big Finish have done.
Thoughts on Big Finish bringing back the alien delegates? I can't say I have many.
Yeah.
Like, it's sort of hard to say, because I have no interest in picking up the set anyway. It doesn't really affect me that they're back.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool when they did it in Syndicate Master Plan.
Yeah, it's like they've done it once.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see them on a cover. But yeah, I've got no strong feeling. Like, yeah, I've got nothing really to say about it. It's fine.
If you want more Lucy audios, Luke, there's a lot of adventures with her and McGann. That's true. We never have a fair chunk of those ones. Maybe that'd be something to tier list one day, the first 4 series of 8th Doctor Adventures.
Yeah, we'll have to think about what our next throwback will be now.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose we can say what our big one was because it didn't end up happening in July anyway.
But we're still doing
reasons. Yeah, we are still doing it. But I think it's fair. Should we share that now?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, most people guessed it already anyway. We were planning to do the entire monthly range in one tier list and go through all that. That is still going to be happening now. I think I've been going back listening to the older story recently. Did World Apart, or no, not World, Shadow Planet. I've still got World Apart to get back to. So I've got distracted by Second Doctor and then this probably Ninth Doctor as well. But yeah, certainly working my way through some of the ones I remember less of to refresh myself there. And then, yeah, we'll dive into that at some point, and that'll be a pre-record now, won't it? So we can just focus entirely on that, and probably put it out as a premiere still, so you can still
we can still talk
fun in the chat. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, we'll both be there as well, just in the chat for a change rather than in the video. Although we'll be in the video too, of course. And it'd just be interesting to see how long that ends up being.
Yeah, we'll have to try and figure out a date to do that at some point, along with all our other little projects. We need to figure out how we're going to do it.
That's true. Yeah, I made a huge tier list recently with every Big Finish audio. You did, didn't you, Huvian? Saw that on Twitter. That's great.
Maybe we should do that as well.
I mean, the monthly range one was a big enough.
Yeah, that's true. That's 275.
Let's get that out of the way first before we go for many thousands of.
We do 60 at least a year with like the whole year.
Yeah,
easily.
If there's no highly placed 6th Doctor and Charlie audios, the viewers will try and get you to listen to them.
Well, I think I need to listen to some of them to actually tier list, to be honest.
Yeah, I think there are definitely going to be some that are going to end up in a not heard category.
Yeah, like The Dark Husband and stuff like that.
Yeah, which maybe we're cheating slightly there, but
yeah,
I think we've at least got enough of them between us to justify.
I mean, I'm a 1 to 50 W word. Luke's not. Luke's never touched that area, really. I don't think you have you? Have you touched any from like the 1 to 50? Bar like the
3.
obvious.
Yeah. Just 3.
Okay.
So I'll be chipping in every now and then for it.
Yeah,
and then we'll probably go through a period towards the middle chunk where it's like not heard. And then come the end of the video, we'll be talking loads about how great 2016 was, how much we loved 2017, how much the 7th Doctor was grating on us around this time, etc.
Yeah.
And then, as we're on the edge of madness, you'll hear a sigh of relief as we place the end at the beginning of the tier list and wrap up that probably
3 hours late
video. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that is something to look forward to. The hope was to do that in July because anniversary of Big Finish and such.
Yeah.
But we could save it till March.
We could,
because that's the anniversary of the monthly range ending. But I feel like that's too long to wait.
Yeah,
especially now that we're talking about it.
I mean, I hated sitting on the regeneration advent stuff, let alone sitting on that.
Yeah, that's something. And we do have plans for something else in December as well. Not quite as big as that.
No, I don't think
But
we'll ever do anything as big as that.
yeah. I mean, it's too late for this year anyway.
Yeah,
Because we
yeah.
started that back in July and we were panicking towards the end, thinking, "Are we gonna get this done?" Thankfully, we did. It's Big Finish's 25th anniversary of having Doctor Who next year. It is.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, we're not saving it till next year. Don't worry.
no.
We'll think of something else to celebrate that, and I'm sure Big Finish will be celebrating that in their own way as well.
Yeah, because we want to do multi-Doctor. That's one I've wanted to do for a while.
Yeah,
But that's more like in November.
Yeah.
Maybe in November we'll just do a load of big stuff.
It just depends how free we are at the time.
Just live stuff.
Who said do it for November? Then it's like a cool 60th thing. I mean, yeah, but is that a while to wait at this point?
I mean, we do have like a little series in the pipeline. What we're chipping at,
Yeah,
as well. What's Big Finish related? What is kind of ideal for this time?
Yeah, we do. That's it. There's stuff that's going to come along.
Yeah,
I think with series as well, we sort of try to get enough of them in the bag so that it's not too much of a drought between them. But with something like just a single monthly range tier list, that's just going to be record it, and then once it's edited and ready, it can go out really at this point. Yeah. I'd expect that someone in September. I think it's
I would say so. Say so.
You're getting a little insight into the behind the scenes of the Purchase of 11 channel.
Yeah.
How thoroughly disorganized we are.
Yeah, we act like we know what we're doing. We really don't. Like, we didn't know this was happening this time last week. So
no, we didn't know this was happening last time we streamed. It was
no, we did.
We were like,
you messaged me. What was it? Tuesday. Going, should we do this Thursday? Because it's throwback. And I was like, sure,
yeah. No, I'm pretty sure it was Monday.
Was it Monday? I can't remember.
Oh, it might have been. Yeah, it might have been Tuesday. To be fair, who knows? But would you include the Eternal Summer as a multi-Doctor story? Our stylish one.
That's like including like the Vanquishers and stuff like that, isn't it? It's a weird. We'll have to probably talk about that.
What about the Autumn Infinity? I mean, what about the Wrong Doctors? Because that's sort of a title like that is very deliberately playing on the idea of a multi-Doctor story, and the fact that it's the sixth Doctor from 2 different points in his life, deliberately contrasting them, I think is very much playing to the style of a multi-Doctor story. So I'd say that probably counts.
Yeah.
But then you've got things like what's Fin Time?
Yeah.
Does that count as a multi-Doctor story?
Yeah, I think you kind of need to sit down and go, right, okay.
We need to set some rules for this. What is a multi-Doctor story?
Because I'm sure there'll be some pedantic person. Well, actually, on Tarnish Wiki, like, shut up.
And there'll be something we miss as well somewhere.
Yeah, there'll be something obvious.
I mean, a short trip deleted scenes is debatably a multi-Doctor story. Those who listen to it know what I'm on about there. I mean, the most recent subscriber short trip, Paul Spragg Memorial short trip.
Oh yeah, it's got shooting, doesn't it?
Yeah, supposedly. I mean, that was announced that the winner of this year has been contacted. So congratulations to you, whoever you are out there. I doubt you're listening, but if you are, congratulations. But yeah, I suppose, is that all for tonight? Have we wrapped up the Third Doctor Adventures Volume 2?
Yeah, surprisingly not as good. The memory cheats. The memory cheats.
But I can't say I didn't enjoy going back to do this.
Yeah,
I'm happy we did it still.
Yeah,
I don't feel like I've wasted my time or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's nice. But yeah, at the same time, it's just not quite as nice as I recalled it being at the time. But that's what happens sometimes. I mean, a good friend of mine used to really stand behind Master, said that was his favourite of the entire Big Finish catalogue. But recently we listened to him wasn't quite as enamored with it as they remembered. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and we don't know what we're doing next. We'll see whenever whatever that is comes along.
We don't know. We'll have to figure it out. But we'll be back talking more nonsense and more Doctor Who very soon. So yeah, thank you everyone. Please like, subscribe, do all that lovely stuff, and we will be back for whatever we decide next. Yeah, thank you everyone, and bye-bye.
Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.